What's up, BDFFL? This is your champion of champions, welcoming you to the inaugural podcast of the year.
Welcome to the Big Dick Fantasy Football League.
Yeah, champ!
Let's go!
Fuck that dude!
Fuck him! Go. Let's go.
No, why?
I don't like anything.
Oh my god.
Just football. Yeah, I need some action. Some satisfaction.
Week 1 form. Really?
Going crazy.
Yeah, like what the fuck?
We're like the Bears offense. Hey!
Hey, welcome everybody to the 2019 BDFFL season. Woo!
Oh, come on. Give me some energy.
Hello? Oh shit, is he there with us?
Hey, welcome back, man. It's been a while.
Hey guys.
Oh man.
It is Duval.
Yeah, in case you guys didn't know, Duval's back on the show. Like, yeah.
Hey everybody!
Let's go, dude.
All right, let's do the week 1 reviews.
Woo! Alright, Eminem, let's get this shit going. The champ is back, alright? I got Noce versus Ryan. The champ is back and dropped that Nocenomic stock right away. And with who? A kicker on Monday night. Will Lutz not only got everyone in NOLA going nuts, he put the putts on any chance that Noce and Drew Brees could have given. Alright, I must point out that Mahomes continues to be captain of Ryan's team and will lead this team week in and week out. I sat next to these guys on draft day and they couldn't stop telling me how my squad looks like Danny's from last year. Well, I'll get to that later. But Ryan starts off 2019 where he left off in 2018. Win! He took this one 105.6 to 99.9. All right, Eminem, off to you.
Mushkin had all the running backs he could want. Mushkin had the best matchup possible, and yet Mushkin couldn't get the win.
Yeah.
Mushkin luck finally seems to be running out as Robinson takes this low-scoring affair.
Let's go. Good, guys. Coming up next is Bill Paxton, the weatherman, Josh Camerad versus Ben. Put my barrage in your mouth. The chef go head-to-head. Put my barrage in your mouth takes this matchup 131.1 to 102.4. The hurricane-like low-pressure system that is Bill Paxton met a high-pressure wall that was Ben the Chef with his Saquon Barkley, Josh Jacobs combination, putting up a combined almost 40 points. What let down Bill Paxton, the weatherman's low-pressure system, was the Cowboys D. I'll try better next time, guys. Good thing.
Next up, we have our producer, George, who's going to have to do a lot of work this podcast versus our host, Eminem, in an inter-podcast battle. Z got to eat his $90 million contract, dropping a team-high 19 points. There was no match for Kamara and Andrews, who dropped 20 points each and led Eminem to victory. George can take solace in scoring the most points on a losing team, so that's nice. Could the third time really be the charm for Matt Martin?
There's only one thing you can say about this matchup. The Week 1 Warrior is back, and he's ready to take on this league, and he's starting with Cold
Shoe leader. Up next, we have Danny Nieves, MDK, versus Baker the TD maker, Eric Brunken. This was not really a match, guys. MDK murdered, killed on Baker the TD maker. Baker was more like the poo-poo maker on Sunday because he fucking threw 3 picks, 9.4 points, still more than Cam Newton and James Winston, though. MDK's got a great team. He's poised. This is his year. Baker didn't have a chance. Next.
All right, everyone. BDFFL. I've got myself versus Kev. Doughboy takes this one 98.7 to 78. And you know why? Because Kev, who's the bitch now? I know I can talk some crap, but wow, this was an it was an expected performance from the BBD champ. Gurley didn't show up for him. AD literally walked out of Oakland, and having Kev told me that I was a bitch for going for Keenan Allen, well, here's your bitch, Kev. 123 on 8 catches and a TD. The dough was not done rising as I doubled down with Old Man Rivers and a solid performance from the main event, Michael Thomas, on Monday Night Football. Good luck picking up the pieces, Kev. Oh, and back to what I said earlier. My team's not no sass. My whiteouts do work. Yeah, I got a big dick. Oh, you guys struggled getting Dorothy up in the air there, all right, Bill Paxton?
Wow, guys, it's great to be back. I got to tell you, we had a great beginning to 2019. The draft was just phenomenal. It was like the day at the Masters. Everything was pristine, clean, just like the most properly dressed gentleman I've ever seen. And, kudos to you. Kudos to you guys for showing up, getting it done in the face of a terrifying hurricane. So cheers, 2019.
Pretty sure our celebrations made the Hurricane Dorian turn north and miss us.
Dude, celebrating there with the TV was like, we're out of the code! It was a good feeling.
Not having to put up my shutters was great. So
we brought that high pressure all the way fucking down to low.
Yeah.
Kamish, thank you for hosting. It was great, honestly. And we have to make sure we get Anthony's Cold Fire Pizza out there all the time.
Oh, yeah. I had the most solid shits after that. It was great.
Oh, and after special delivery, we are now a
Thank you, Justin
podcast.
Oh, sponsored by Milam's, brought to you by Milam's. We would usually disclaim our views, but Milam's agrees with our views. So that disclaimer is the opposite. Everything we say reflects on Milam's and is their opinion. Moving forward.
But not the other way around.
Before we get sued, we should move on to the waiver wire picks.
Mm-hmm. Let's. These have been great waiver season.
Yeah, I don't know. This week one felt a little weird. There was definitely no $100 cat in it this time around. It was like
Carlson didn't think so. I mean, Carlson thought there was like a lot of gold out there. He's out there is like 49 gold rush.
Well, we'll get that to the second. Yeah, but what I was going to say was I didn't really feel like there was that one player that anybody had to like go out and get.
No, yeah, I don't think I agree. I would say though that traditionally, like from a strategy perspective, like weeks 1 through 3, 1 through 4, those are the weeks that you want to spend your money because that's when dudes are emerging. And what looks stupid now could be the Philip Lindsay, of last year. So
absolutely. There was only 4 bids over 20, and 3 of them were done by one owner.
One man who bought the entire market.
And I'll start with that one man. One of the guys he picked up, Gio Bernard for 20. Now, Gio, at the time, Mixon was getting X-rays for his ankle. They weren't sure, but he might be coming back. If he's not coming back next week, he's definitely coming back later. And Gio's like the most frequently dropped player in our league. I mean, he's constantly.
I owned him and dropped him already.
He's constantly in the waiver wire every single year. He didn't have to spend that much money. I don't even know what's the next highest. Next highest bid was $5. So yeah. Actually, no, sorry, $9. So that's my worst pick.
I'll follow up because I agree. That's what I was gonna do. I'm gonna say not to harp on it. I mean, I already know what Carl's going to say. Everyone bids really aggressively in this league, so I wanted to spread out to make sure I got a guy. But I think he was not really evaluating the talent.
Excuse, bro.
And I think even people that have weak teams were like, I don't think, John Ross is a long-term solution. I don't think anybody thought any of those players were long-term solutions. Like I said, those players could end up being Philip Lindsay because everything looks weird in week 1. But it probably doesn't feel good to have less than 30 fab, and that's just a huge blunder. So I have to pick Carlson. Though close runner-up is Mostert for $26. So I'll let someone else handle that.
Yeah, so I'll jump in on that. And while I can comment a little bit on John Ross, I mean, maybe there's a little upside there, right? I mean, he was the fastest man 2 years ago in the draft, so it could be a possibility. But that Gio Bernard, that's poo-poo. But I will jump on this Raheem Mostert, all right? So Gio Bernard was close. I just think that this backfield situation in San Fran is too muddled. You got Jerick McKinnon out there. You got Matt Breida. You got Tevin Coleman maybe out 4 to 6 weeks. But still, it's just something to stay away from. And I honestly, maybe he helps you for the next 2 to 4 weeks. But Eminem, I see you dropping him by week 6. Put it in the bank.
Okay, well, I'll take 6 weeks of wins for $26.
Do you have Tevin Coleman?
No, I don't.
Do you have Breida?
You
have no slice of it. You just want to get in on that. You're just like this, orgy,
Coleman
this
is out
sloppy
for,
orgy. Let me get in on that.
Yeah, Coleman said he's out for 2 to 6 weeks, and McKinnon's already gone for the season, so I don't even know how that's being analyzed in this equation.
No, I mean,
But,
it would be great if you got him for like $4.
Yeah, exactly. And that's literally what I said there too. In my own thing, I said like my own picks for Gio and Mostert, not necessarily the players themselves. It was just the price that was paid for them.
Price
You know,
is important.
yeah, exactly. And then the only defense I have for Mostert is I had him last year for the 2 or 3 weeks that he did really well for San Francisco, and he's clearly the number 2
love
there. So
affair. Oh my
yeah, you know,
God.
exactly. You know, it's just somebody that
Hold
I'm
me
used to.
closer,
It's also the
Raheem
BDFFL
Mostert.
zombie disease. It's like running back.
Yeah.
Get the running back, and everyone's fucking chewing on the fucking running back. Like, I don't care how fucking bad you are. If you're a handcuff, I'm gonna keep you.
Yeah, it's just well, don't confuse me for Mushkin, okay? That's all I gotta say.
No, Mushkin tries to trade you the hand.
Yeah,
handcuff.
you know. So, but let's move on to the best picks, and I want to go first for this one because I had Terry McLaurin. I can never say his last name. Like, it was McLaurin or something like that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you tell me.
It's a
You tell me.
McLaren. Let's
I don't
call him
know.
a McLaren. Just a
The
fat-
only
McLaren.
black Irish. McLaren.
McLaren.
Terry
Black
Terry.
Irish. It's the best of both worlds, mate.
I think he's gonna be like one of those promising wide receiver rookies. And then the other thing too is that the one upside I like about him also is that he was Haskins' wide receiver in college. So if they ever do make the switch from Keenan to Haskins, like I don't think he would lose any value or a lot of value in that aspect later on in the season. And it was just actually really funny because I was shit talking Carlson. I was saying the exact opposite just to get into his head. But yeah.
Nice.
So-
That's a good one.
Out of his head.
I like Terry. Terry was a good one. I mean, he's got great upside. I mean, what they're trying to do in Washington there, you never know. Something's going to hit over there. From my end, I got to get the commish. Now, while this wasn't during the waiver period, which is what we're typically looking for, I kind of like this one.
stars.
I was looking at this one a little bit this morning as well when I woke up. But at 8:30 a.m., commish made the move, and he got Jamal Williams. And I thought it was a good one. It's a 50-50 backfield there in Green Bay. We're talking about Gio and Mostert or whatever previously.
Mustard.
But, I mean, Jamal Williams to me just gets – I mean, he's part of a high-profile offense, and he's going to get love, and he's the better pass-catching back. And I feel like right now Matt LaFleur is going to go with the hot hand. And if that offense develops, Jamal Williams – and let's not forget 2 years ago that Aaron Jones was a 6th-round pick, while Jamal, I believe, was a 2nd-round pick. So
Preach.
the talent is in Jamal.
Oh man, I need a cigarette after that. That was sexy as fuck. All right, I'll go. I'm gonna say our new sponsor, Miles, does not want me to mention this, but my pick today is sponsored by Nostonomics, and I think that it is well and alive. Nostonomics. People were saying the Austrian school of Nostonomics was dead, but it's back. His pickup of Panthers D for $3. I don't think you guys realize the level of intricacy and analysis that it takes to spot such a deal from miles away. The Panthers D didn't have a great week 1, obviously, but that was because they were playing the Rams. However, the Panthers still stifled the Rams and made Jared Goff look bad. The Panthers on paper are a great defense, and their schedule, oh my goodness, their schedule is just phenomenal. For only $3 spend, he probably played defense on the waiver wire for 3 weeks. Now, if I had the ability, oh yeah, here we go. They play in this order, so he's gonna need probably one other defense in the next 4 weeks. Tampa Bay, at Arizona, at Houston. He can't start, so he'll need another defense. But then he plays Jacksonville, which, by the way, I know we all think Gardner Minshew is really cool. He's gonna suck nuts, so that's gonna be a good start. And then finally at Tampa Bay again before the bye. So for $3, he got a defense he can start for 4 weeks out of the next 5. I think it's a great pickup.
Robinson stole my pick. No big deal. Skipped over me. Didn't write anything. Nice. Read all my notes.
Oh, did I do that?
Cool. No, yeah. Must have been a mistake, obviously.
Oh, fuck.
I was like, is he reading Eric's thing on purpose?
I thought it was a joke at first,
like,
and then
and he Googled the schedule. He Googled the entire schedule.
and not only that, but he took away like his Nostonomics bid and everything.
Oh my god!
Well,
I'm so sorry,
that's cool,
dude.
That's cool. I work on the fly, so I will pivot my pick
Oh my god!
to Gus Edwards for $0.
That's not nearly as good. Just go with Nostonomics again.
Double going down.
Gus the Bus. Gus the Bus.
Got 17 touches, and yes, it was against the Dolphins, but the Ravens are always committed to running. It looks like they're going to be doing a committee style over there. I mean, it's hard to judge against
Bullshit.
shitty ass Dolphins.
I'm so fucking sorry, dude.
6.
Oh,
Next
that was
segment.
good.
Eric, just stick to the Panthers.
Well, he spent 0 fab on him, so yeah,
0
that's not a
value.
that's value right there. All right.
No economics.
I just gotta go before you. That's
I came up with that without reading that for sure. It totally wasn't. It's about delivery, obviously.
Well, okay, I guess in that case, let's move on. You know, Gus Edward bus, it's leaving the station to the next segment. So let's get into the week 2 previews. But before we started, Eric brought something up in the chat, and he wanted to bring up with the group, which I thought was a good idea. So what do you have for this?
all right,
Eric?
guys. So we've been talking about doing some sort of bet, and I think we have a couple different options here. There's the obvious, like first place picks last place's name, or we could have some sort of, I don't know, like first place picks last place's tattoo on his face. I don't know. What do you guys want to do for a bet for having the most wins in the previews?
Flaming hot Cheeto up the pee hole.
Yeah,
I like the Mike Tyson tattoo. That
Mike
looks
Tyson.
good.
Yeah,
The Mike Tyson tattoo? Yeah.
I mean,
The one that Eric.
gonna be more
How
embarrassing.
about the loser has to caddy around a golf for all the people that are not losers?
well, that's way too embarrassing. We're not gonna do that.
right.
Yeah, we
That
need
is
that.
too
Yeah, that's
extreme.
crazy.
How about instead someone gets to paint a mural on one of the walls in their home and they have to keep it up for the period of the fantasy football season?
No, I think that's also too ridiculous.
Or
Right.
or the champ gets to sock and bopper fight the BBD champ, but with one hand tied behind the back for the BBD champ.
That's just mean.
Yeah.
Like that's not even.
Oh
That's
my
just
God.
abusive.
I feel like that has to be voted on. It's like
I feel like that's something that I would see like on The Walking Dead, like a fight to the battle.
I just want to punch Kevin in a sumo costume. Like,
Or instead, loser gets 10 water balloons from each of the other non-losers.
that's it.
That's it.
That's it.
All right, let's do that.
Oh my god.
Let's go.
Let's do this.
Wait, for what are we doing it for though?
It's the total wins for the pick'em. So every week we pick the teams. We pick
Okay, so
our
there's
winners for every
stakes now.
matchup. Yeah,
And in the
Stakes.
whole league, everyone gets 10 water balloons. It's 130 water balloons.
Absolutely not. What are you out of
Absolutely
your
not.
mind? No. Anybody who actually puts skin in the game, there's no freebie pegs. Are you out of your mind?
Wait,
no.
how about if we solicit the league to make picks as well?
It's
And
too
they have to
late.
turn everything in on Thursday morning while they hear the pod.
All right.
I mean,
Well, if you guys hear this before Thursday Night Football and you want to submit your picks, and you're going to submit them for all year, if you submit them this week, you need to submit them all year, or we're going to peg your ass.
or
Yeah,
or
with-
you're
With
exactly.
rocks.
Yeah, you're
we said
either
rocks.
in or you're out. In or out. It's simple.
So
It's
it's
math.
10
No, it's
balloons
not
for
math.
every other
In
person.
or
10
out.
balloons. It's 10 water balloons per person
And
that did not lose.
Matt Martin,
You
Let's see
get
the
10
producers
water,
then.
so you get 10 water balloons if you're in, or you get 0 water balloons if you're out.
Undrafted.
Matt Martin's keeping track of it, so send him an email. Send your picks individually on individual emails to him, okay?
Yeah, don't
He's
worry.
an IT. He can figure
Yeah,
it
he'll
out.
figure it out.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
Yeah, thanks. You just demote my job like 3 pegs.
He's
I like
a garbage man.
I love
Yeah.
this shit.
So I went to school for engineering, but I'm just a lonely IT guy at the desk.
He sweeps the vomit off the floor in the
Yeah, exactly.
cafeteria. He's
Yeah.
not even a janitor. He's a level below that one.
All right. So the first matchup is actually me versus Carlson. I think this matchup is a little bit closer. I think this is like basically 2 teams that are kind of put together by Scotch tape and duct tape there. And I think I'm going to win because it's my team and I think I'm awesome and my team's awesome. So fuck Carlson.
Interesting take.
Well, I took the other side. Lamar Jackson
Great analogy.
not only looked well in the air, he didn't even have to run the ball last time. I think he may run a little bit more. This could be a high-scoring game. with Arizona, so I think he might be getting some points there. David Montgomery, the tape looked good on him. He didn't get enough touches. I'm hoping Matt Nagy sees this and comes back. And Denver couldn't stop Jacobs. They're not going to stop this rookie. Giovanni Bernard was featured as a terrible pick, but usually when we say something's bad, it's usually good. So it will be good. And he has Travis Kelce, man. So I don't know. It's a close game. I'm taking Carlson.
Yeah, I got you, Eric. I think going back to your Lamar Jackson piece, that kid can run better than I've seen a QB run since Mike Vick. So I'd say that, and he didn't even have to run against the Dolphins. But if he needs to, he will. And against Arizona, I mean, you think about that, Kyler Murray and Lamar Jackson going at it, it's pretty exciting. I think for Eminem, you got Russell on the road, which for me isn't truly a great benefactor, especially there in Pittsburgh. He's lucky it's not cold. But you do come in strong, Eminem. You got Peterson there. You got Kamara. Carlson pieces together Bernard, like Eric said. Yeah, it might be bad, but for this week, fuck, that's a big hit, and especially against San Francisco there at home. So receivers a toss-up. Juju's got a bad toe. I really don't like that. And then when you would think Devontae Adams going against Xavier Rhodes, you're like, okay, he's going up against the best corner in the league. But Adams has had 2 touchdowns against Xavier Rhodes last season. Granted, he doesn't get many yards in that game, but he will get a TD. So I do believe that Carlson has enough to do what he needs to do, and I will take Carlson in this one.
Wow. What I love is the first game that we're picking is split right down the middle, 50-50. Here's the here's the spoiler. I'm going with Eminem this week. I will say that this is like game like runner up for, if not the game of the week. Maybe not powerhouse teams, but they're the most closely matched teams, I think, in the week. I think even probability wise on the cool ESPN probability meter, they're 51% in Carlson's favor. But not to just harp on this too much, but some other things that might not be perceived is that the flex matchup this week is just like the matchup of the waiver wire claims, because Terry McLaurin versus Raheem Mostert in the flex. So our worst waiver claims are going to battle in the flex here for these guys. Carlson, the reason I don't think he's going to win is because I think David Montgomery's fucked and he has to start him at Denver. And I think Montgomery's fucked because of his timeshare. I think he's in a full-blown RBBC. And he slid in Giovanni Bernard in his running back too, as casually as we should expect that he's starting, when in fact Mixon is healthy. So it's like I'm looking at this and he's just like, this is my best option right now. A dude who we know is just the backup and is not going to start this week. So I think it's a very aspirational start on Carlson's part to put him in there. Besides Matt Martin's flex, I think he's got a really strong team. Lamar Jackson for Carlson might be awesome, but I think Mark Andrews that Matt Martin has might be the number 1 receiver on that team. So even though they're playing Arizona, I think Mark Andrews might cancel out Lamar Jackson in a significant way. And waiver wire pickup of Adrian Peterson, I think, really did a lot. Or I don't know if you got him in a waiver, but you don't.
I drafted him actually.
Okay. So just ignore what I just said, but having him on his roster is good. Better than Gio Bernard. The end. Eminem wins.
So are we doing this snake draft? Now you go first and we go backwards on the next
No, man, just Josh versus Mushkin is next. And since you're so eager to start, why don't you go ahead?
That's not what I was saying at all.
He said he
Eric, go, Eric, go, Eric, go, Eric, go.
This is the
in the I can go. No, I can go.
Yeah,
Go
for it.
All right. This is my favorite because I get to talk about Mushkin.
Oh,
Idiot. What an idiot he is for being such a dumb idiot who thinks his bench trash is better, that like he has to hold on to fucking, I don't even know. Can I go scroll down? N'Keal Harry.
Really it's really funny because I feel it's
Madison.
Like the narrative from 2 years ago when I first joined the league, where he's like, yeah, my team is really good, and then like by week 5 or 6, he's like, you know what, I got a really good dynasty team. I think that's where we're heading for again.
He's he actually, but for my kicker, probably put up more points than me last week. But that's not about this. This is about the matchup this week. It's about Bill Paxton, our resident weatherman, versus Billy Madison, Mr. Salad Maker himself, Mushkin. Okay, so what do I see here on the matchups? I see, obviously, Steven's awesome cavalcade of running backs, Mark Ingram, Chris Carson, and Kerryon Johnson, who all showed up, by the way, but for Kerryon Johnson, who he, in symbolic fashion, has demoted to the flex position, which I very much appreciate. Mushkin, obviously, Kerryon needs to earn to get into the top running back spots. He hasn't done so. But Chris Carson looks solid, and Mark Ingram looks like they could be top scorers. But the problem is Mushkin's receivers. Allen Robinson, perhaps he continues to put up 13 points a game, but I think the ineptitude of the Bears offense, plus with the fact that Allen Robinson just doesn't seem to make the plays as much as an Allen Robinson owner. Let's just say I don't believe. Will Fuller also is another person that didn't get targeted a lot last night, is going up against Jacksonville this week, and is always hurt. So Mushkin's got glaring holes, where Bill Paxton, on the other hand, I think is a pretty complete team who has some pretty good bounce back options this week. For instance, Nick Chubb, who I think everyone's still high on. Going against the Jets is a difficult matchup, but I think he'll do well. Stephon Diggs, who's hurt with the hammy, I think we all believe he's gonna bounce back. There's concerns there with the hammy, but he's gone to the he's gone to his bench. He's got John Brown there in wide receiver 2, which I think is like the depth of his drafting is really paying off for him. And then finally Josh Gordon in the flex, who Josh Gordon now looks like a sure thing. He looks like, even if Antonio Brown doesn't come play, it looks like he might be better if that's not the case. So Josh's team, I think top to bottom, save his tight end spot with Eric Ebron. It looks pretty good. So I'm going with Josh. I just don't think Mushkin's team is that good.
I am as well. I mean, at first glance, you look at Josh's matchups and you're like, oh boy, everyone's on the road. But then you see Tom Brady and Josh Gordon are playing Miami, which if you've been to a Miami Patriot game, that's a home game for the Patriots. They travel very well. Like 80% of the crowd are Patriot fans.
Yeah.
They all live down.
Yeah.
I think Josh is going to win this. The only thing that I see that Steven has in his favor is Trubisky and Allen Robinson. Hear me out. They're playing against Denver. They didn't look that good, but they played on Thursday night, and Denver played on Monday night. So the team with the most rest is playing the team with the least rest, and they may have a chance of gassing their defense a little bit. And I think Matt Nagy will bounce back. Denver didn't look that good against the Raiders. They made the Raiders look really good. So I think Mushkin will put up a fight, but Josh's team, like Matt mentioned, top to bottom is better.
Well, I want to say one thing here, and I like both you guys' valuation there. It looks pretty good, and I know Josh is favored here heavily. But did anybody see the Barstool Sports video of the Miami tailgates and how we slap better than anybody else?
Yeah.
Did you see them strippers just shoving fucking little
dude.
down their mouth? Did you see that shit?
I love that fucking video.
We're undefeated in tailgates. We might not win a game, but undefeated in tailgates.
You know who also saw that video? Josh Gordon. He's gonna be doing mad blow with them fucking strippers. Partying up. He's down in Miami. He's gonna be fucking getting wild, and he's gonna be thinking his dong is them balloons. All right. So with that said, to me, yes, Josh has a solid team here, and obviously with the 2 Monday night running backs going at it there and favorable matchups, y'all know I love the running backs. And with the running backs, that's something that Steven has solid work here. He's got Mark Ingram. He's got my boy Chris Carson that we made a trade over. I think Kerryon Johnson's going to have to bounce back and get some PPR love through the air against the Chargers team. And, yeah, I mean, Will Fuller wasn't targeted as well, but you know what? I mean, Will Fuller's a big play, and all he needs is a big play from him because A-Rob's going to get a lot of love. Now, he doesn't have Trubisky. He has a quarterback that I do really like who's on the road, actually playing in the same stadium, Josh Allen, that he played last week against the Jets. And when that kid turns it on, he can turn it on. He was the highest scoring quarterback for the last 6 weeks of last year. He can run. He played like dog shit in the first half against the Jets, and he still gave a very favorable, I think it was like close to 20 points in fantasy. It was a solid pickup by Steven, and I really do think that as long as those running backs come in with 15 points on average, that he's going to upset Josh. Josh, you got to come down here. You got to stop Gordon from hanging out with those strippers, man, because it's going to cost you the week. All right? I got Steven in this one.
Dude, I don't hate it. I don't think it's that imbalanced because one thing I was also just noticing here is he's got Greg Olson and being obviously a biased Cam Newton owner. I think he's going to bounce back against Tampa Bay, but Greg Olson also low key got targeted 8 times in that game against
He
the
was the
Rams.
highest targets for the Panthers. I
Yeah,
mean,
so
Newton still loves Greg Olson.
and I feel like Mushkin, at least this week, is managing his team like he's in the middle of the season. Week 1,
Yep.
he got in his own head, I guess, from the draft and thought he's an evil genius. If he made that decision and just picked the higher ranked guy that week and Josh Allen, he would have beat me, right? But he's got Josh Allen now. He didn't want to. He's not giving up on the Jags D. But what did he do? He cut bait on a fucking bench player and made room for an actual D that's worth starting this week because they're not playing at Houston and the Bills. So he's starting to manage his squad and like think a little bit more logically and less with his heart. So I can see why it's close.
Yeah, I don't know why he's got a defense on the bench though. Like, come on, Jags, you don't defenses need field position.
That was
all right?
it was a
And
noob draft. It was a noob draft. If he had looked at the schedule instead of just being like Jags good, he would have been like not worth owning the Jags for the first 2 weeks.
True that. Noob draft, indeed. Did he even draft?
I know, hardly, right? It was like everything was traded away.
Duval, you want to talk?
I got Josh. I got Josh winning this one. I just like his squad overall. I'm not a big fan of Mushkin's squad. I do like his running backs. Like I think he's pretty strong there, but I really don't care for his receivers or anything else. So
No sweeps so far.
yeah, that's the way. Well, somebody's gonna get wet for sure.
Someone's gonna get wet.
All right,
You're so
next
wet.
matchup.
Hide your girl.
Next matchup is Ryan versus our very own producer George, and I got George winning this one. I think top down, his team is better. Maybe his wide receiver 2 is a little bit iffy, Beckham versus Landry, but I like his squad. I like Zeke is gonna be way better. Henry, if he does the same thing, he's gonna be fantastic. Mari Cooper looks good. Cooper Kupp looks like I think he had the most targets out of the trio, Kupp, Woods, and Cooks. So I don't know. I think his squad is good.
So let me
Yeah.
let me tease this, okay? We haven't done our power rankings. That might be like a short little 5-minute thing, but I'm gonna tease it right now because I love the way that you were just totally loving Georgia's squad because I do too. Okay, I love Georgia's squad, and this is also to say that I'm going to double back.
Yeah, George!
I also love Josh's squad, and little tease. I'm just going to say maybe a little JJ action, maybe a little Josh, little George, are making the top 6 in the power rankings because I think George's team, however he did it, low key studying up while he's working on Sean Hobbs, obviously out there ripping donuts and doing like jumps off icebergs and cars and shit for that movie. He's studying up on fantasy football because this team's good. Ezekiel Elliott, Derrick Henry, those might be one of the 2 best. That might be one of the best starting duo running backs in the league for our league. And then he follows that up with, which I at the draft was like Amari Cooper with plantar fasciitis. I'm like, I don't even want anything to do with that. And George snapped him up, and the doubling up on the Cowboys looks like a genius idea now. Like they look like super contenders. The Jarvis Landry project, I think that's his weakest position. I don't have a lot of faith in that. It doesn't. Baker looks inept. Doesn't look like he can feed the whole offense. And the Vance
Week 1
McDonald
overaction. Sorry.
it could be, but like it's one thing. He's got OBJ. They got Nick Chubb. They got Njoku. It's like to think that Jarvis Landry is also going to be viable.
He's definitely a volume guy, and there's too many guys,
exactly.
too many mouths to feed.
Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt, but you know what I just noticed? There's like a staple running back in Georgia's squad that he has like every year that I've been in the league. It's Chris Thompson.
Yeah,
he's gonna be like, honestly, I think his best squad. Well, I don't know if we should be talking about this, but I'm just gonna say it. I think his best squad is moving Kupp into wide receiver 2 and
Thompson in the flex.
Yes, dude, that squad will be so sick.
100%. And I obviously one of George's also all-time favorites, who he's just had a man crush on his entire career, is Tyler Eifert. Welcome back to the squad, George. Like you if this guy's good, he's going to be on your team. Like we're noticing, and we see that problem that you have there with Vance McDonald. So anybody who's a little tight end rich might want to go over to George. He's obviously feeling not very confident about his tight end. But I've spent a lot of time on the person who I think is going to win, and just totally ignored the fact that the last guy is the champion, and he totally won the league. But just like that, Ryan, just like that, your yesterday's news. where we're glamping on George, and we don't even give a fuck about your intro. That said, this guy figures out a win. He won week 1. And you know what? If he squeezes a win out here where he's only rated 49 to 51%, like the pros like him. He can do it. He's shifty. Like I said, I think Joe Mix is going to start, and if he plays, he's been effective. He's very cheeky with the Darren Sproles start. As a Miles Sanders owner, I want to see like, no, you're an idiot. But Darren Sproles got so much work in that game. If that holds up, first of all, Doug Pierce is an idiot if that holds up. But Darren Sproles is a fucking Hall of Famer just by sheer volume, and he's going to get it done. Mike Evans is one of those players I was talking about that's due for a bounce back. He had limited snaps, which like a lot of people don't know about. But all things considered, this is a pretty good team. I don't think it's an upper echelon team, and I think Georgia's is.
I think.
Yeah, well, Kamish, here, just on my end, I think that you make some good points there on Ryan about what kind of owner he is. I mean, the guy's obviously a former champ, 3-time champ, and he definitely is looking at some running back support that he's going to need with Mixon being out or everyone not knowing what that status is. I know Sproles got a lot of love, but I think he only received 20% of the snap share. So it's still a running back by committee, and I think Jordan Howard actually played really well in that game, and you will see Doug Peterson favor Jordan Howard. So
man, come on.
Darren Sproles play.
I mean, Darren
Sproles, I don't like the Darren Sproles. I mean, granted, he's a Hall of Famer. He's great. He's awesome, but I just don't think he's going to yield what Ryan thinks. And George is going to pound away at this matchup with Zeke and Derrick Henry. Zeke is going to feast on a Washington Redskins defense that gave up a ton of yards to the Eagles there. And Derrick Henry's just going to pummel Indianapolis at home. Goff is going to have to, put up some numbers there because Mahomes is going to be the only thing, like I said in the recap from last week, that's going to continue to lead Ryan's team this season. But at the end of the day, Ryan has the better receivers, but with some Cooper Kupp love and some Amari Cooper. I mean, the Cowboys offense to me is probably the most complete offense in the NFL right now, where they go from every position. They just have the people, and he's got a ton of people. He's got Randall Cobb, he's got Pollard, he's got Zeke, he's got Cooper. I mean, George is bought in on probably one of the best offenses. So I truly see that this team performs. And I'm with you guys. I mean, George is going to take this. It's not going to be overwhelming. I think it's going to be a very close matchup. To me, it was close to being game of the week, but too much of a landslide in favor of George, and something that I just see too many holes right now in Ryan's team.
Everybody went with George, huh? I'm going with George.
Yes, sir.
George at the jungle.
Whoa.
In the fantasy game. Yeah, I think when you're starting Darren Sproles in 2019, you're going to lose. Bottom line. Mike Evans was on a snap count, and he got 4 more days of rest. He rested for 365 days before his first game, and now he's going to be A-okay after 4 days. I don't believe it. Prove it to me. I'm going with George. Clean sweep.
For my 5 seconds of Ryan love, I still think it's a bubble team, and if he gets lucky or makes some moves, which he always does, he could just be right back in the mix. That said, if Joe Mixon doesn't play, he's toast. He sucks. But his receivers are amazing, and I expect them to bounce back. Both Mike Evans, ODB, and then T.Y. Hilton, who I thought, I wouldn't fuck him with someone else's dick. I don't want to get anywhere near that guy. But he scored twice last weekend, and it looks like, wow, the Colts are actually good. Andrew Luck quit like a pussy when he has the best team that he could ever play with.
Dude,
so
they should have won that game. They missed 3 field goals. I mean, 2 field goals and an extra point or something like that. It's like they beat a playoff team from last year with the second string quarterback. I think they're legit.
Well, their defense is good. I like the Colts.
I like
defense.
the Colts this year. Good. I think they're pretty. I thought.
I'm still out on that. I don't think Jacoby Brissett's going to hold up.
Yeah.
But
Tennessee's defense, I think Tennessee's defense played really well against the Browns too. So
yes, no, they dominated.
Browns are going to bounce back. Anyways, sorry to hold you up.
Yeah, next. No, it's okay. We're just side topping here. So next one is No Stay versus Kevin, and something that we were talking about before the podcast that I think we're going to talk about here because it's pretty funny. We keep on mentioning kind of the same thing with like these teams, is that we're starting to noticing that like there's kind of like a tier flip, or like the bottom tier teams from the last 2 or 3 years are starting to become the top tier teams, and like I think No State is starting to lean that way too. I don't think he's quite there yet, like the Nieveses and the Georgias teams, but I really like his team for this week also. So I don't know. What do you guys think?
Absolutely. Oh,
Let me
go for it.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I just kind of want to start right away. I mean, granted, yes, Nosa's team does look good, but this is a bad matchup. We shouldn't spend too much time on this. This is
Ooh.
Put him in a body bag.
Come on, Kevin's team just got, buzzsaw to start the season. I mean, we drafted Drama with AB. All of a sudden, Hunter Henry, right? Big year again. Nope, sorry, Hunter Henry, you're out. I mean, the guy's not reliable at all. He's scary to rely upon. And look, you look at Kevin's team all across the board. It's not really like he's playing much. And if Antonio Brown, which, let's be honest, do we really expect him to give a lot of snap counts on Sunday? I doubt it. He's going to either be on a pitch count or suspended. Two very bad things when it comes to starting them in your lineup. Basically, the biggest bright, I guess the biggest spotlight on this team is Rogers and Gurley. And outside of that, I just think that Nosa is going to put in work. He's got solid running back, solid tight end in Kittle that can go out. He got Jamison Crowder, who's going to give him some support now with a Nunwa out. Jamison Crowder is going to get a lot of love. And we all know that Adam Gase loves to hit the slot. We all know that. And it's going to pay out dividends. And yeah, Nosa is going to probably put in some work here. And I can see Kevin going with another sub-80 performance.
All right, since we're giving a little spoilers for our power rankings, I have top 4 in my power rankings. Look at that, which I guess I gave it away because I said top 4. But I think his team is pretty good. Top to bottom, he has a solid team. If you look at Drew Brees, one, I love his matchup this week. Everyone loves a comeback, a rivalry, and there's no bigger rivalry than you should have been in the Super Bowl and the referees fucked you over.
Yeah,
you can't trust refs.
Yeah.
Just like
hey, the refs are not at fault here, all right?
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah, you're the moral character in this show.
The shining beacon of
David Johnson.
I'm the judge.
Rat attack. David Johnson has bounced back this year. Even in a bad matchup against Baltimore, he's getting a lot more targets in the air. So he has a safe, high floor. Aaron Jones, I'm not crazy about Green Bay running backs, but he's a great individual player. He could bust out. Brandon Cooks is always solid. I think he's going to be scoring a lot of points against his old team in New Orleans. DJ Moore is on the up and up, and I think Tampa Bay sucks dick. They only have a four-day rest, like I was talking about. I think this is going to be a big blowout.
Carolina.
And we all talked about his defense. Matt loved his defense so much. He skipped right over and just took the whole segment.
Oops.
So let's move over to Kevin's team, which also, sorry, what can Brown do for you? I don't think they're going to do – he's going to do shit for you. Neither of them.
Ouch.
Yeah, and then Todd Gurley.
Comeback story, right?
Come on
back story.
Because Damian Williams is now in a timeshare with 2, 3, 4, 7 backs. And Matt Breida, okay, whatever. I think this is going to be a blowout, 20-plus points. I'm going no stay.
Yeah. Keep it short. I'm also going with no stay. Kevin has just got the buzzsaw. I mean, it hasn't all been negative. One of the small stories here that we're not covering, which I know this is a point of great contention, obviously, is Danny Nosta had Tevin Coleman drafted, and Kevin Kim had Matt Breida, I believe, as a restricted free agent. Kevin Kim is now starting Matt Breida in the flex against Danny Nosta. And can you imagine if Matt Breida goes off for 30 points and just bulldozes Nosta? Like that would just be unbearable for him. However, I think top to bottom, Nosta is just better. Kittle, it looked like he had 2 touchdowns called back. He's good. Jamison Crowder, which I think he drafted, is now rightfully in his flex spot. This shows how difficult this league is, that Jamison Crowder of all fucking people is already owned, and just like, all right, great. Now I'm starting him in my flex, no hesitation. And as these other guys have said, the rest of his positions look good. another negative to Kevin, I don't like his matchups. Aaron Rodgers against Minnesota, it's a low over/under, not great. Todd Gurley against New Orleans, it's a fucking phenomenal defense. Damian Williams, whatever. And then Vernon Davis against Dallas, it's another good defense. Obviously, he has the Miami matchups, but we know Nosta wins. Kevin loses. Just more poop fruit from the poop tree, the poop coaching tree of Duvall.
So the next matchup is actually Ben versus Eric. And
Ben versus Eric. Well, this is obviously as interesting as the final game.
Oh, so interesting. Yes. I mean, it should be the final game, really. But you know what? I'll let you.
Oh, it was. That's what it was. Oh my God, that's right. I forgot. I even moved it myself.
Y'all are going against me, so you guys go first.
All right.
Well, I guess that settles that.
There's the preview. Ben's team
has players,
and I believe your team also has players. And you know what, Eric? I like what you did. You didn't have a lot. Your keeper of Michael Gallup is phenomenal. He looks like he's going to really, really produce. You drafted Austin Eckler in the 3rd round, I think, which was a huge reach. But wow, the number 1 running back on end of the week, amazing. Problem is that the rest of your team is like a turd and a truck stop bathroom. Wow. And Baker Mayfield is a Browns.
Jesus Christ!
Oh, I forgot about him. He's not Gardner Minshew, so I don't accept him. Baker Mayfield, sorry, yeah, I forgot Julio. Just glanced over him, but that was the core that I admit that that's good. Baker Mayfield, I don't know. There's better times ahead for that team, definitely. But are we supposed to sit here and think that the Titans are like the Seahawks or Ravens of old? I don't think so. I think they're still the Titans, and it's not a good look for the Browns to struggle so mightily against what I think is probably just an above-average defense in the NFL. Devonta Freeman, he struggled mightily as well on NFL Sunday, but he got all the work. So are we thinking the Falcons are going to be bad all year? Probably not. That's a bounce back candidate. This guy's doubled up on the Falcons. But really the story here is about Ben and why his team is superior to Eric's. It's because he's got Saquon Barkley, who is unflappable, Josh Jacobs, who is the 3rd highest usage running back in the league right now as far as snap counts. Josh Jacobs is like 71%. He is undoubtedly a 3-down feature back. And then Dak Prescott, who looks like a top 3 QB. That Dallas is amazing. And to top it all off, Ben snagged TJ Hawkinson, which was a pretty out there reach for a first-year tight end. And he looks like you can give him top 10 numbers, which is exactly what you want if you punt the position. Ben's only weak spot is, I think, his flex and Sony Michel, who has the perfect thing for somebody who's ailing, a matchup with Miami. He's going to probably score a lot. Tyler Boyd and DK Metcalf are the other part of that weakness, quote unquote. But even those players,
so
like Tyler Boyd, he's a bounce back
candidate.
candidate.
Go on.
Yes, Tyler Boyd, the 3rd weakness of the only weakness. He still got 8 targets, so that those touchdowns could have gone to him. And DK Metcalf as a Lockett owner, I'm like, nah, that's not gonna happen. It's not gonna happen, but it's kind of happening. So I hope not, and I hate it. I see that where there's a chance for Eric to win is my point. I think it's actually kind of close. But I think Ben is just, if I have to get pegged with water balloons.
Well, I would say that water balloons is a big fear factor right now, right? For me, I look at this matchup right away, and Eric, you've got a lot right on the Falcons, and they're going to be the ones that are going to actually carry you if they can with Julio and Devonta Freeman. But I agree with the commish. I mean, Ben just has a very, very rounded lineup.
Yeah. Yeah, too
Okay, hold
much
on.
chest hair.
Stop. You have to move your mic away
Oh,
from
I
the
got it.
mic or
I got it
whatever.
on my
From your
chest again.
He's got so much. His mic is rubbing his chest hair, ladies and
Oh,
gentlemen.
yeah.
That's
We watch football and our chest
That's
hair rubs
real
our mics.
BDFFL, all right? You're lucky I don't got a Bud Light, Budweiser. Whatever.
Welcome to the Big Dick Fantasy Football League.
Continue, please.
Eminem, thank you always for being such a great host and keeping the integrity of this podcast. If not, we would just run amok.
Yeah, the chest hair.
Yeah, so the running backs for Ben, for me, are just awesome. I mean, yeah, you can say Sony Michel struggled last week, but one of the hardest things to get running in the NFL is literally your running game. That's always tough as linemen have to gel, mesh, whatever, etc. For the Patriots, they're always, they game plan around it. But Sony Michel is the pride of Plantation, all right? That's my hometown, y'all. That's my hometown. You too, Ryan. He's the pride of Plantation. He's the one that's going to ball out when it comes to the game over there at Hard Rock, just like Marquise Brown and Lamar Jackson, a bunch of hometown kids did. We can expect Sony Michel to do well. When you see the weaknesses on Ben's lineup with Tyler Boyd and DK Metcalf, you called it out, Kamish. Metcalf is true. I mean, he's the one getting all the targets over there in Seattle, and he's a big-bodied receiver. While Eric does have good pickups like I like with Darren Waller, he's going to be great. I just think that with a solid run game that Ben has, and it's going to be tight. This game is also going to be very close. Just comes down to that Monday night. Can Baker pull it off over there in New York? I don't know if he can handle the big scene over there. And I will take the hot hand of Dak Prescott as my difference maker in this game. So I got big.
Well,
Ben.
Everyone's going against me as usual, but it's cool. I think what you guys are overlooking is Devin Singletary. They're saying he's going to get more touches. He's averaging 17.5 yards a carry on a huge sample size, guys. I mean, 4 carries, 70 yards. Yeah. He's going to do big things.
Enormous.
All right. I think Baker Mayfield's going to have a big bounce back. I mean, he just let these guys look good for week 1 because the Browns were just too hyped up, And he had to give Colin Cowherd some material to keep on busting on him.
Yeah.
So that motivated him. He's going to go to New York to the fucking Jets on Monday night, and he's going to rip it up, baby. So I got me. And also my defense. Dude. Defense against Arizona. Like, come on, guys. He's starting the Colts against Tennessee.
True. Super underrated draft pick this year. Like, you went early on the D, and it's paid off. That's another defensive steal.
Oh, we like to, I guess in the show, we like to put the cart in front of the horse.
Oh, you switched it.
Like my pick is Eric.
So. Yeah.
What? Wow. Yeah. Look at that, dude. I'm a victim. Boo-hoo. Nobody believes in me. I'm the underdog. Well, there you go. Look.
But then Eric decided to mention that he listens to Calvin Cowherd or whatever.
Ew, yuck.
So I don't know. I think I'm gonna have to go with Ben on this one now.
Oh, okay, wow, that was flawlessly executed there. You couldn't even say a guy's name. You're like Colin Collard.
Cowherd. Yeah, that's how much I care
about him.
Coward. It's like the guy is, dude, that guy, all he does is yell about the same thing for like 3 hours on the radio every day. I just don't understand his appeal at all.
Well, I always feel like radio hosts that just need to work on their own, they're just lost. I mean, they suck.
I'm thinking about going on my own, actually.
For the record, Martin, I don't know
well,
if
you suck.
Again,
oh, my bad.
I don't listen to Colin Cowherd. I listen to Barstool Sports that makes fun of Colin Cowherd or making fun of Baker Mayfield. So get all your facts straight before you make your picks. I'm going to whoop the fuck out of you.
I mean,
all right, I'm done.
It would be nice if Robinson let me actually hear whatever the fuck you said, but I don't care enough to go back. So moving on, it's Devoe.
I'm hyping.
Neves, and I got.
It's gonna sound great in post, I promise.
Neves wins this one easily. His team is he's probably the best team right now, top to bottom.
He murdered, death, killed me.
Yeah, murder, death, kill. There's a new segment I want to launch. It's called Burying the Hatchet, and it's about squash and beef in this league. And I don't know if beef can ever be squashed here. But there's been a rift, and even people that are only, halfway associated with you guys, you barely acquaintances at this point, just people we play fantasy football, and there's a little beef, and nothing will cure beef like going head to head in a fantasy football game. I'm sure that whoever loses and whoever wins here, you guys can be really gracious to each other, and I wish you the best of luck. I'm going with Danny Nieves here because if I have to get hit with a water balloon, I'm gonna go with Danny
We're moving on
Nieves.
to Cincinnati.
He Cincinnati. If he would have started Sammy Watkins last week, he would have had the highest score of all time.
I don't know.
I'm gonna go with Mr. Snow.
I don't know what beef you're talking about. I don't know what hatchet. But
He's
the
not
only
invincible.
fucking hatchet coming to town is the Doughboy carrying that fucking claw. Let's go. All right, guys. I honestly understand I face a big challenge here. Obviously, Mr. Nieves betrayed. He betrayed the Doughboy way. And
I started winning.
But last year, Eric, we had this same challenge, right? I mean, we were going into this game, everybody was like Nieves, and I was like, guys, I'm telling you right now, I'm in that guy's head. He knows it. He loves this matchup, right? So I get one of my cronies. But at the end of the day, guys, it's all about mental aspect. We all thought Kevin was big last week, and then now in this week we can see. And then while Nieves is going out there, it's week 2. He can start whatever he wants. I do see some big challenges. We know Christian McCaffrey is going to do what Christian McCaffrey does. But did James Conner even look great against the Patriots? And now he's going to face a Seattle front that pummeled Joe Mixon? Come on, we're not going to expect much there. Granted, Sammy Watkins took advantage of Tyreek Hill out of the lineup, and the Jaguars didn't even know what the Chiefs were bringing to them. But now with time to game plan, I can see Oakland, especially at home in the black hole, where it's the last season for them in the black hole, they're going to play tough. Granted, guys, I know I'm looking at a lot of intangibles here, but I got LaShawn Shady McCoy, who's going to put in some work over there in Oakland, and he's going to get some run going. He's going to do things well. He's going to do what he needs to do. And listen, Nieves came after my dog Edelman. He was the only one that put a bid there on the draft on RFA. And when I walked over to him after I won that bid, I told him, when are you going to learn? You got to have balls to beat me. And I don't see balls drop yet. So that's why I'm never scared. Doughboy always walks into everything with his head up high and his chest pounded. That's the way I do things. I'm never scared. Let's go. Let's get Matt Ryan versus Carson Wentz on a Sunday night, and let's see at the end of the day who the man is. I got you, Nieves. I got you. Let's go. Hatchet to the face.
You better bring a bathing suit, is all I'm saying. Here's the truth.
Yeah.
Kenyon Drake starting ain't gonna cut it against MDK.
Oh, I know.
OJ Howard's limping. He doesn't look great. Your receiver core obviously flawless, but MDK is a flawless team. So you have to be flawless. And you got flaws.
Oh, I know. I know my running backs are the flaw, so we'll see. We'll see how it goes. And I like Kenyon Drake. Hopefully he turns it around. I think the coaching staff was bullshitting last week by not playing him and going with Balaj at first. And then they kind of were like, well, we fucked that up.
I mean,
so
there's so many things that the Finns fucked up that I think Drake was not even.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah, it's just that was ridiculous.
Sorry, Doughboy. Not only are you going to lose, you're never going to be winning in this because Christian McCaffrey's playing tomorrow. So,
I mean, I did like his Titans pickup. I thought that was sneaky. We've been sucking Titans' dick a little bit, but
true.
he's actually getting to start him, and they're playing in Annapolis. Who I'm not a big Brissett believer, but maybe that O line is good enough to just make Titans look.
Well, maybe they'll score 40
and it's all about the kicker. It's all about the kicker. I'm praying to Los Santos.
Oh, Cairo Santos. Sí. Claro. Yeah. Claro.
All right, everybody. It's that time. It's that time for the Doughboys Game of the Week. Woo!
George, you complained about the noise. You told me don't yell so close to the mic. Well, fuck that. I want everybody right now to stand up. You might be hearing this pod at work. Just stand up right out of your chair. You might be hearing this pod on the toilet. Get the fuck off the shitter. Hold and prairie dog that thing. And if you're in your car, hit the brakes, pull over, because I want everybody to make some noise for the game of the week. It is Robinson versus Justin. Why not? Commish versus Game 1 hero, Week 1 champ, Justin. He's back, everybody, and he's got a squad. Tell me, everybody, I love the Commission's running back tandem of Cook and Fournette, and they should overwhelm the Mac and Lindsey combo, especially with Mac on the road and Lindsey in a tough pass game script against Chicago. Yes, against Chicago, it will be run heavy. I don't see Lindsey getting out, but he's got Nuke and Watson. They're deadly. If we saw on Wednesday night, that's all Watson looks towards. And Hopkins always gets open. How does the man do it? He's back. He's back. Who's back? Deshaun Jackson. He's back and he's flying for the Eagles with 2 touchdowns. He's balling up like he did last week. He'll do the same. Commish, I know you were scared. You looked at Tyler Lockett and you were like, my God, he got no target until the 4th quarter. And then he got a touchdown. Yes, Commish, I know you're nervous. Curtis Samuel, upside, but on a Thursday night, will he do it? I don't know. Newton's still limping. He can't move that much. One's at home against the Saints. Come on, Saints are coming to beat you up. And I don't think that Newton's going to help you at the end of the day. Plus, you got Gardner Minshew running the offense for Jacksonville. Fournette's going to see 9, maybe 10, maybe 12, maybe the whole team in the box. I don't know. Can I count? Come on, people. Justin, I know you, Justin. Stand up. You keep rolling. You're going to take down the Commission, the game of the week.
Well, since the Commission was giving out free advice to other teams, you have Tyrell Williams sitting on the bench.
Oh, I was about to say that.
You might want to put him on. I know Robinson's going to do his little burn piece here. Just real quick, not even to do with fantasy. This rivalry goes back to high school, freshman year. I remember there was this one day, it was after a weekend, where I talked to Justin and Matt separately, and they both said that they won in a Halo game. And that's the type of matchup we're talking about here. They both think they're really good at everything, and they go head to head. And I
think they're really good.
They're close in video games. Justin's better at sports. Matt's always had fantasy.
No, he's not. I'm better at golf.
That's true. I'll give you that. You're better at golf. But most other sports, he's better, especially linear
definitely.
running. Very good at that. The only type of running. But the only thing that Matt Robinson had locked down all the time was fantasy football. The torch has been passed this weekend. No! Go, Justin! I got Justin. Go!
Fuck, dude. Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna pick myself, obviously. But to be real, Justin's team is pretty good.
Love the confidence. Yeah, I have to pick myself.
You know what the worst thing is? But you took all my material on this. You took all my material, and you took the free advice column I was gonna give him. Because they're listening.
Yeah. I wonder where he got that idea from. Yeah.
What? No, I think Eric owes you from the waiver.
Well, you didn't write that down. You didn't write that down. I just said it.
I'm that predictable. But he's gonna luck out because he's gonna wake up on Sunday morning and there's gonna be a Mike Williams is not playing Sunday alert, and he's gonna be like, "Oh shit! Well, who do I play?" And he's gonna go to his bench and he's gonna be like, "Tyrell Williams. He did good last week. He scored 20 points." And he's gonna put him in. And then his team is actually going to be very competent and very capable of beating mine. And
I don't know, Kamish. I think you underestimate the pod. I feel like once that pod drops, these thirsty fucking owners are just going to go in there like if it's, first week at the Ponies, and they're just going to be like, "Tell me more, pod," and then they're going to find out, and then Justin's going to get hype. He's going to be yelling in the chat. I mean, I foresee all this stuff, and I think he's going to know to play Tyrell.
He's going to, because Mike Williams is going to go out. And
before
it's going to
Sunday,
be a dogfight. It's going to be a dogfight, 100%. But let me just put this. Let me say this. You don't want a 2-0, Justin. Like, you guys are all voting here. That you may not want me to win, but You don't want 2-0 Justin. At 3-0 Justin, so help me God, we might have to cancel the league. I can't imagine that. Okay? So you need to get on team 1 week Justin for real. That's my spiel.
Well, it's not that we want him to win. I just don't want to get wet.
That's what she said.
Smart. My pussy's
Yeah.
wet for this fucking game. Come fuck
I'm
me,
always
Justin.
wet.
I got Justin winning this one.
Dude, come on.
It's just, I mean, his wide receivers are just better. His running backs, I think, are just a slight downgrade to yours. Like, they have bad matchups, but I think his wide receivers can hold up. Especially
Can't wait.
if he switches out Williams for
This will
Williams.
be the sweetest victory when I take this, because then I will
Yeah.
also get water balloons in my favor.
And to be honest, I've never seen 2-0 Justin, so I kind of want to see that.
You don't
So-
I don't
want
think he exists. He hasn't existed up to this point.
Yeah.
Let's just say I like the Jacksonville stack against the Texan Deshaun Watson Hopkins combo.
Yeah, that was a pretty nasty combo last week. By the way, that Saints Texans game was pretty freaking epic
Oh,
matchup.
yeah.
The best game, probably the best game of the season.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
this is probably not a high note to end on.
No.
I think the Saints are a bunch of fucking pussies. All right. How the hell do they go again, same time that they know they have to score, and they're like, "Oh, let's kick a field goal and give it back to our defense." Fucking morons.
I mean, they
Wow.
won.
You guys
So
haven't- yeah, but they won. But I mean, haven't they learned their lesson? It's like they won against the Texans. They do that shit in the playoffs again, where they don't just. I mean, they just got to learn that their offense is better than their defense. And I hate saying that.
Wow, I was about to say you're the defense guy.
I know I'm the defense guy, but I just don't think the Saints defense. I mean, how many third down conversions did they give up to the Texans that night?
Hopkins was played out of his mind.
Yes.
yeah, it was crazy. All right, everybody, that's all we have for you today. Remember, you can always hit us up at the phone and leave us a voicemail at 786-309-4663, or you can hit us up on the email bdfflpodcast@gmail.com. If you want to participate in the pick'ems, just hit me up and let me know. And remember, we'll start introducing the parlays this week also. So if you want to be into that, hit me up as well. All right, everybody. Peace.
Woo! Woo! Well, time with the stars.
Nobody believes in me. Nobody.
BDFFL, we're all winners this week.
Hey, Eric, I like your waiver wire pick, but I'm going to jump in front of you here. The Panthers defense, baby. No.
I read everything on the teleprompter.
What's up, BDFFL? This is your champion of champions, welcoming you to the inaugural podcast of the year.
Shut up, baby dick.